Hey everyone, James here, and welcome back to yet another installment of Quickie Talk.
Oh, no! I'm late for a very important thing.
This is of course the series of videos on this channel where I make an honest attempt to talk about topics that I don't want to make a longer video about quickly. Though, given the track record of this series on this channel, I really should probably just rename this to Talk.
Oh, no! I'm late for a very important thing.
Back in 2020, I reacted to a clip that was of a performance from the then brand new Back to the Future the musical that had just opened not that long prior in the UK across the pond on the West End. I love Back to the Future. I love musicals. This seems like something that was made pretty much just for me. And I was very much interested to see how the two could possibly coexist. At the time after watching the clip, I remember lamenting that with some of the performances and especially with the way the costumes looked, they were going super faithful, which made me worried that this could potentially dip its toe a little too deep into what I would consider theme park territory as opposed to actual theater. Not that there's necessarily anything wrong or lesser than or superior than between the two mediums, but that was just a worry that I had. Although I did admit that what they did do was still very fun and entertaining. Now, 5 years later, I can say I have seen multiple clips and some slime tutorials of not only the original UK cast, but also of the Broadway cast when it was transferred, and of the current US tour cast. So I've seen enough of the show, wink wink, to kind of want to revisit this topic again and sort of quickly talk about what my opinions on the full show are now. Let's quickly talk about the story, because this is a very fateful adaptation of Back to the Future. This isn't like a Beetlejuice situation where they shift the focus onto a different character. Every major scene that you remember watching in Back to the Future is present here in the musical in one way or another, albeit with some slight modifications that really fall into one of three major categories. Category 1 is a change that they made just to make the story work better for an audience on a stage in live theater. An example of this would be that the DeLorean and the time circuits are now voice activated, so they only respond to Doc Brown's voice, or removing the entire car chase between Marty and Biff outside of Lou's Cafe and changing that to just Biff and Marty and George running through the halls of Hill Valley High. Category 2, and admittedly they don't use this one nearly as much, there's really only one that I thought of, but it's a change that they made to smooth out some of the rougher edges of the original movie. You'll get what I'm going to say in about, 2 seconds. Mainly, Doc is no longer shot by Libyan terrorists in this one. They change it to where he suffers radiation poisoning from his radiation suit after handling the plutonium and putting it into the DeLorean at the Twin Pine Mall scene. In Category 3, and this isn't so much a change, but again, a slight modification, which is they add in some deleted material from the original movie. One that I noticed right away was they kind of added back in Biff selling George peanut brittle, which was one of the deleted scenes from the original Back to the Future that took place at the beginning of the movie in 1985. One more thing I will say here, and this isn't necessarily about the story, though it does kind of graze it at times, and that's talking about the overall tone of this version of Back to the Future, which is to say, the tone this time around is a lot more comedically driven. This is, in its core, I would say, a musical comedy. Now, it's not to say Back to the Future always took itself seriously or didn't have a self-aware edge at any point.
Great Scott! I know, this is heavy.
But in this version of the story, they will make jokes about the pandemic and 2020. They'll have Doc remarking about his background dancers only showing up when he starts to sing. Biff and Marty do a Darth Vader during that fight in the halls of Hill Valley High that I just talked about before.
Biff, I am your father. No, you're not.
Again, this doesn't bother me. Again, Back to the Future has always kind of been this way. It's just kind of dialed up a couple notches from the movies onto the stage. And I will say, no doubt that was done to help accommodate the Doc Brown in the original production that was played by Roger Bart. Because, yeah, a lot of Doc's dialogue is kind of written in how Roger Bart does his style of comedy. Again, not bad. Back to the Future has always kind of been a little silly, but it is just something that I noticed. Talking about the costumes now, I don't really have a lot to add that I didn't already say back in 2020. The costumes are very faithful adaptations of how they were done in the movie. So much so that, again, I think it does dip a little bit into theme park territory. How do I know? Well, I'm pretty sure Universal took a lot of notes from how they did the Back to the Future characters in this musical and took it and ran with it for their Universal Fan Fest nights where they did a whole Back to the Future experience. I can't really tell much of a difference between the Marty they had in the parks and the Marty they had on stage. Again, it's not bad. I'm not saying that I wanted Marty to come out wearing the orange vest, put with gems on it to make them shimmer and shine or stuff like that. No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying they are very, very faithful to how they looked in the movie, which is cool, but it does kind of lend into that theme park territory. Now, let's get to the thing that, hands down, without a doubt, is the reason you go see this show, which is the effects. The effects in this show, even watching them through slime tutorials, were outstanding. The stuff they were able to do with the DeLorean on stage, the use of projections, it was an incredible feat. This show, I guarantee you, must have been expensive to put on. I don't know how expensive it is in the UK, but the fact that the Broadway version already closed and it's Back to the Future, so if that name didn't draw people in, I don't know what would have. I'm assuming it also had to close because of the overall cost of the production. But again, with that cost of production, you do see it on that stage. And yeah, the DeLorean flying at the end. I still don't quite know how they did it. I have my theories that I'm not going to tell you because I want you to go figure it out for yourself and then tell me. But I have my theories. And every time I think I know how they do it, I see something else that kind of, I don't know, makes me think it isn't. Then again, I never would have guessed that the magic carpet in Aladdin was done with drones. And that's the prevailing theory right now, is that it was all drones. So, I don't know. The music in the show, the music in Back to the Future the Musical, is good. It's very much serviceable. Not that there aren't some really good bangers. I will say, I love It's Only a Matter of Time. I love Gotta Start Somewhere. I really, really love the song that Doc sings in part 2, which is For the Dreamers. You've got Power of Love in there. You've got Back in Time, which is used in a similar manner to how Shrek the Musical used I'm a Believer. It's sort of like a curtain call song. It's sort of like a wrap-up song. There's not a song in the show that I would say is bad. I do wish that the song for Biff that was in a couple of the previews early in the UK, like it did make it to the stage, but it didn't last there very long. This is like pre-pandemic. I do wish that song from Biff, I think it was called It's So Good at Being Bad or Good at Being Bad. I actually do have a video of it, which I'm not going to show for reasons. I wish that song was in there. I understood why it was taken out, but I wish it was in there just because I think it had a good beat, and the guy who was singing it as Biff did a great job at it. But yeah, the music, again, it's serviceable. It does the job. If you want a little bit more in-depth about the music, way better than I could do, I recommend go watching Doggin's 2 videos on Back to the Future the Musical. He goes far deeper into the music, both from the film and just the original music, than I ever could. And finally, let's talk about the category that I have something I want to say about this for future productions of this show, and that's the overall acting of the show. Hugh Coles, okay, was the original George. He was the original George both on the UK stretch and on the Broadway stretch. And I don't know what leprechaun he found, what lucky rabbit's paw he had. He nails George McFly. Every little mannerism, the voice, it is 100% perfect. I have no notes about his performance, except again that it is a good impression. And I do have to say, while I do think he is the best George that I have seen, how much of that is just because I really like his impression? I don't know. I think it's kind of 50-50, at least for me personally. Again, his performance as George was amazing. It is a highlight. There is a reason why they had him travel across the pond to do it for Broadway. People need to see him do Crispin Glover as George McFly. I only wish we got to see maybe a little bit more of Hugh in that performance as George as well. But that's not really what I was trying to talk about here. All of the other actors in all of the performances that I have seen of this show, they do a good job. They're doing very well with the material that they are given and probably with the stipulations from casting that they are told. But there are two parts in this show that, very much like the producers, make or break this show. And that is, of course, the performances of Doc and Marty. Because like Bialystok and Bloom, these are the characters that people love. Their friendship is the ground zero. It is the foundation of the entirety of Back to the Future. If your Doc and Marty, for future castings of this show, do not have any chemistry, the whole show is not going to work. It's like the producers in that aspect. Among the videos and clips that I have seen of Doc and Marty, oddly enough, I think we over here in the States kind of nailed it, because we brought back Roger Bart from the original UK. Granted, he's an American, but you get what I'm saying. He brought his role of Doc to the States, and then Casey Likes as Marty. I think those two just had really great chemistry. And not only that, Casey Likes was able to keep up with Roger Bart in those moments of improv. There is one amazing clip, I think it was from the final performance or one of the final performances, where they do this whole running spiel about this is heavy. No, it's not heavy. Weight has nothing to do with it. And there is one part of that. I'm going to play probably a selection of clips from that entire minute-long monologue that is just pure, straight improv. I watch it sometimes if I just need a quick laugh. But I will share this one part, because my God, this part is genius.
This is heavy. Heavy? No, weight has nothing to do with this. What? Weight, it has nothing to do. This is temporal physics. This is temporal physics. Yeah. Why are you talking about weight? No, I'm not talking about weight. Well, you said heavy. Well, yes, the situation is heavy. The situation? Well, yes, I put my hand on my neck and I said the situation is heavy. Your hand on your neck? Yeah, so basically it was an illustration of the situation. I put my hand on my neck and I said the situation is heavy. Oh, so you were being illustrative. I was being illustrative. You're absolutely right. I was being illustrative. Illustrative. No, you're saying it wrong. You're saying it wrong. I think both are acceptable. I don't think that's true. That is true. Where am I looking up? Look it up in a dictionary. There's a dictionary? Yeah. Where's the dictionary? Oh, it's in the main house. Okay. Where are you going? The main house. Oh, the house is in Maine.
Right? Am I right? That's what you need to make this show work. This show was never going to be high class, like, this is theater. No, it's Back to the Future on stage. There is a DeLorean traveling back in time on that stage. This show needs to be fun, so you need to have a Doc and Marty who can have fun and work off each other and kind of allow the audience to sort of suspend their disbelief. Overall, I freaking love Back to the Future the musical. Is it one of my favorite musicals? No. Would it make the top 15? Yeah, probably. And it would probably be on the higher end of, like, you know, the 15 to 10. It'd probably be like number 12 or maybe number 11. But it's just a really, really fun time, which, given the state of the world that we're currently in, you kind of need to get all that you can. Not to mention, the show is also filled with Easter eggs and references that fans and die-hard fans will absolutely gnaw to the bone. And that's just the show in a nutshell. It is a show that was made for fans, and I'd argue, by fans, and I'm not just talking about Bob Gale. So those are my quick thoughts about Back to the Future the Musical. Hopefully quick. I have no idea how long this video is. Yeah, I can see it too. Get out of here. But if you've seen Back to the Future the Musical, if you've seen any clips like I did, feel free to leave your thoughts on it in the comments section down below. Feel free to leave any, things about my comments in the comments down below. If you agree, disagree, let me know. And until tomorrow, guys, gals, and my fellow VEDS-ies, I will see you tomorrow.